Hi. My name is David, and I will be talking about stating the obvious in software documentation in the form of internet articles. So, yeah. Uh, did something like this happen to you? Uh, for example, when I started working as a tech writer, I ended up on these weird endpoints like quite often, and it was frustrating. And then I was thinking why people do it, for example. I was thinking, and then I realized that we really didn't state the obvious, like how documentation works. And I figured out that by asking simple questions, you can make the process clearer. So I was studying linguistics, and one thing that I really liked about linguistics is you have these really broad definitions that can be applied everywhere. So you have, for example, Greece's maxims, and you can apply them to speeches. You can apply them to written text, and you have this maxim of quantity. So you should be as informative as possible, but not too much. Then you have maximum of quality. You should state what you can actually, what you know is true. What you need to support your claims by some evidence. And then you have maximum of relevance. You should be relevant to the topic. And then you have maximum of manner, which is kind of similar to the maximum of quantity. You should be clear, brief, and as orderly as possible. And you can violate or flout the maxims. When you violate them, you just do stuff like this. And actually what happened to me is that I found these articles from 2017 that looked like, updated in the near future, right? So, or you can flout the maxims, which is, for example, sarcasm or irony. So you choose to purposefully to not follow the maxim. So, and it could, maybe somebody did it on purpose, but I think it's a bad joke. So let's move on. So then I thought, okay, so what is obvious about this internet article kind of documentation? And I found out that it's obvious when you look at it, but when you don't look at it, it's not that clear and not that visible, and not everybody understands it. So, for example, if you have references in scientific articles, you cannot really get to them that quickly. You either have to search the book and find some PDF version, or you have to go to the library and actually check the references and what are the sources of the article. Whereas in internet articles, you can just check, you can link everything, and it's really interconnected, but it can be much more, it can be a mess if you do it too much. So then you have text structure. So in scientific articles or books in general, like the more common way, I think, or what I was working with before, you have chapters, you have paragraphs, and then you distribute the text into pages, which is something that is obvious, but not if you don't think about it. And pages do this great stuff that you don't get lost in it. You turn a page so you don't see the previous text nor the next text, and it can make okay. So it can become more comprehensible because you can divide the text. In internet articles, you can have like multi-pages layout, but what I'm working with is one long vertical chunk of text that is usually just connected with some intention. So, and it can look really funny. I had this one article that was actually printed out. Okay, I need to hurry up. And it was this long snake, because it's this big chunk. It was printed out on a wall to receive feedback. Yeah, and I think it's really important to think about this stuff, about these things, because then you can make some rules and set up some maxims. So we can get back to Greece. And you can set up some maxims that work for you, and then you can distribute them, and everybody can understand the Greece's maxims. And usually everybody can relate to them or accept them, understand them. So yeah, maybe show Greece's maxims to your developers. yeah, then you have different viewports. Yeah, I think that I'm running out of time. Or okay, I can manage. Okay, cool. So if you have scientific articles, you have only like A4, like 210 times 297 millimeters. If you have your internet documentation, you don't know if the user will open it on their phones or laptops or these big televisions they call monitors still. So yeah, but that's all from me. If you want to talk about the topic, because I think it's a topic for longer discussion, you can find me on Gmail or on Slack, on Write Slack. Thanks for your attention.